Yo, 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 what's good? What's good? Jokes to bye. Yeah, I didn't know mine. Back again with another episode, segment. I don't know. But it's controversial conversation either way it goes, man. So we are continuing our journey through the 4 quarters of community development. And it might sound boring, but I'm telling y'all, these are the answers. These are the keys. DJ Khaled style. I got the key, the major keys if y'all are really trying to develop your community. And you know I'm going to say it at every episode. You know we got the, excuse me, we got the CRN Community Mobilization course, the Mobilization Toolkit, and the Civics Education courses. So look, man, y'all come get at us so we can educate, so that we can entertain, so that we can enlighten, and so that we can empower the 4 E's. You know how we do. So anyways, I'm not going to belabor the moment. I'm going to get straight off back into it. And this right here is y'all's 2nd quarter of community development. So let's do this. All right. So this right here is all about action, accountability, and identity. And I know we talk about identity a lot, but this isn't necessarily identity politics. This is about reclaiming your narrative and creating an identity rather than allowing the opposition to create one for you. So let's get straight off into it. So, number 6, and the first one on the 2nd quarters of community development is about action oriented messaging, right? So, this is a game changer. We need to shift the conversation from problems to solutions because people are eager to hear how we fix things, not just what's broken. So, we have to lead with action steps to inspire trust and confidence. So, what's the execution of that look like? I got you, right? So, we train activists and candidates to communicate solutions effectively, right? We create templates that connect key concerns like healthcare and wages to tangible policies and voting records. Even if we have to use visuals and bar charts and timelines and data driven comparisons, we have to make our solutions crystal clear. So that means we have to connect with the people when we are doing our messaging. I feel like a lot of the messaging goes over the heads because it's not directly targeted at the hearts and the people that it needs to reach. That is something that we on the left are failing at consistently because we have, I keep saying it, we have the answers, we have the solutions, we know what needs to be done. And it's time that we start doing it. So, you know, I'm going to leave you with a call of action or call to action. I apologize. So, I want you to think about your top community concern. What solution oriented message would resonate most with your neighbors? And I want you to drop your ideas in the comments. All right. So, the next thing, yeah, this goes along with what I was saying a little bit about identity. But it's not necessarily identifying yourself, it's about getting credit and being identified for the things that you do right. We have got to stop letting Republicans take credit for the things they don't do. Yo, all right. So I want to put an emphasis on the fact that the GOP has a track record of claiming Democratic successes and then dodging accountability for their failures. And it is time to call them out and reclaim the narrative. And the execution could look like we highlight Democratic wins with bold campaigns like We Delivered. So I brought up in the original video about how Governor Walz, how he has been able to implement a lot of progressive things into Minnesota, right? And then he can say, I did that. So whenever we actually have wins like Build Back Better, because there are things within the infrastructure bill that did lead to local wins for roads and buildings and other things, community centers and stuff like that. There's things that actually came out of that bill and the Inflation Reduction Act, right? Like, if we weren't fighting price gouging as hard as we were fighting it, a lot of those things would have brought the prices down. And if we weren't dealing with Walmart doing a rollback on the rollback, those kind of things, right? So we have to talk about the actionable things that we have done that have delivered tangible metrics of success. And then we have to keep highlighting the fact that we did it, because the Republicans will easily take credit for anything that turns out to be good. And they will always dodge it when it's something that they know that they effed up on. You know what I'm talking about. So look, the execution can also look like exposing hypocrisy with shareable memes, videos, and op-eds. But we need to get these not into the New York Times, not onto the big YouTube channels. No, we need to get these into the local organs. And by that, I mean the local newspapers, the local channels of local news channels, right? Like for us here in Warner Robins, we got like 13 WMAZ, we got WGXA, we got NBC, which is WGMT. So we have the House and Home Journal, right? We got things that you can put this information in that'll reach the actual local individuals. And that's where we need to get to so that they know that when they go in there to vote, they know that they're voting for the person that actually delivered on the things for them that they want. And one other thing that we have to do is we have to arm our grassroots organizers with facts so that we can counter false narratives in person and online. This is huge, right? Mis and disinformation are going to fly, especially now when we have the Meta removing their fact checkers and going to community notes or whatnot. Like these type of things are going to lead to a swarm and a swath or whatever you want to use when it comes to an infiltration of a whole bunch of bad narratives being pushed. And there's not going to be much to really counter that. So we have got to get better at taking credit for the things that we do. And my call to action is I'm going to ask you, what is one democratic achievement you think deserves more recognition? And I want y'all to share it below and let's celebrate the wins that matter because this isn't about the party. This is about the left getting things done so that we can get a better society, a better community, and a safer country, right? All right. So, this is something I've been thinking about a lot, and it's something that's kind of like pissed me off because I feel like the platforms that are big enough don't do this, right? So this right here is something that is called repetition equals conditioning, and the message discipline is this: the GOP will stick to their script. While the left, they often scatter their focus. So repetition creates familiarity, and familiarity builds trust. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples real quick. So woke literally used to actually mean something amongst communities. It meant look out for the travesties, the atrocities, the social injustice. Stay woke to the fact that you might fall into a trap, that there might be a pitfall that is right in front of you. So you need to pay attention. But they were able to take woke and beat it and beat it and beat it till it became culturally significant with a whole bunch of insulting terms that have nothing to do with this original core meaning. And they do that with everything, right? They've done it with DEI. They've done it with critical race theory. They do it with traditional values. They do it with patriotism. They take these words and they beat it down into the psyche and the lexicon and make people feel that they're constantly hitting on the same thing, and it makes people feel like they care about that issue. But when we just hit it and then we dip, it's like, well, all right, cool, whatever. So we didn't fight hard enough when it came to trying to counter the narrative of Springfield and them eating the dogs and the cats and whatever BS they were trying to say, right? We didn't do enough of that. And we thought that people were just going to laugh it off until we realized people actually believed it. We have got to get better at stopping these things, and we have got to get better at hammering the facts home. And the execution can look like this: we could identify 3 to 5 core messages, right? Fair wages, healthcare for all, safer schools, and then we repeat them relentlessly. So this is the first thing that I had talked about when I spoke about repetition equals conditioning. Find 3 to 5 things that are easy, that we can have a good discussion on, that aren't controversial, that can be our talking points that the left has great policy solutions for, and then continue to hit that. Don't worry about what they're saying. Stay on the offense, right? Use personal storytelling to make policies relatable. How is what I am about to advocate for and hopefully push through and hopefully turn into a law going to help this person on a day to day? Now, obviously, federal elections don't necessarily do that as much as your local elections, which is why I advocate everybody to constantly stay civically engaged locally, because that is where you can have the biggest impact on everything that happens on your day-to-day life, from the sheriff to the DA to the city council to the mayor to your county commissioners to your board of education. All of those things affect the way that your life is when you wake up every morning. So that is why you have to remain civically engaged, and that is why you also have to use this storytelling to make these things relatable so that people understand how they're being affected. That is the only way that they're going to make a better conscious decision whenever they get into the voting booth. And we also need to create sharp, engaging social media content that lands in, like I said, 15 to 30 seconds. And I know that is difficult, but this isn't an easy game for us to win. The war is not easy to win, but it is winnable if you continue to put the best strategies out there. So look, when it comes to creating this short dialogue that's like 1 to 2 powerful sentences that are poignant and that will resonate, with a little bit of music in the background, with a great little imagery that is going over, that is quick, that is sharp, that questions things, that makes people think, thought-provoking, engaging social media that is going to make people question why have they been giving their votes to the people they've been giving it to, or why they believing the narratives that they're hearing. And the call to action, so we need to figure out, what messages would you want repeated until it sticks? And I want you to comment your ideas, and I want us to like build this powerful script together, especially for these midterms and especially for 2028, so that we are together with continuity and that we are cohesively moving towards our goals that we have set forth. And that is to build a stronger left wing movement, but not just for the left wing, for the betterment of all of America, because we recognize that when we put our collective ideas together versus their individualistic pursuits, we are better. And that's all it is. And the things that we can provide are better for the people that we love and the people we don't know, because it's about everybody and not just our own personal selfish interests. All right. Sorry, I get on my soapboxes sometimes, y'all. That's my bad. But anyways, so the next one, and we're getting close to the end, so we got one more after this. This right here is something that we have got to do so much more better of a job. I know that did not come out right, but we have got to get a lot better at this. And this is about holding Democrats accountable. So I just want to put this out there. This is not a just vote blue kind of situation. When I say hold Democrats accountable, I'm not saying that we're just giving them our allegiance by saying that they're the only party we're going to entertain. What I'm saying is, it is blatantly obvious that the other side has shown us their game plan, and it is not conducive to what we want. So our best bet is to continue to push the ones that claim to be on the left from the center left further over, right? So here's the tough love. That blind loyalty to the Democratic Party has led to stagnation. And the base must hold the party accountable to prioritize people over corporate interest. So the execution looks like supporting progressive challengers to push incumbents toward people first policies. If we can't get this money out, what we can do is we can build up these grassroots candidates that literally test and push the Democratic establishment and incumbents to the max and force them to say, we are going to give you these things, and then we get to hold them accountable, or they will lose their next race. We have got to do that so much more, especially in states like where I live in Georgia, where there's so many Republican ballot or Republicans on the ballot that go unopposed. Right. So when we are going against the Democrats, it's like it's an uphill battle, because we're not even getting the Democrats that are going to, run in these elections in our states to actually do the things that we need them to do. So we need to go ahead and just start running everybody and just start primarying them, and also just put your name on the ballot. If you believe that you're somebody that can do better, you probably can, and you should trust in that instinct and just give it a shot. All right, so we need to mobilize around ultimatums like support Medicare for all or lose our vote. And like I said in the other video, it doesn't necessarily have to be Medicare for all, but as long as it is some type of universal health care or some type of progressive ideal that we are pushing for, it's either you support this or you lose our vote. We're not playing with it anymore. Like, we're tired of you coming and pandering every 3 months towards the election telling us that, oh, you guys are important now. Oh, we want to start doing these things. Oh, we need you guys. Oh, it's about you. But you didn't care about us during the time you were in office. And that is the problem. So it is time for us to start holding them accountable so that they remember who it is that they are serving. And we also have to develop independent campaign infrastructure to scale from local to national impact. So that means, like I said, being active civically, locally, so that you now start to become civically engaged on the state level. You start to learn about your state legislature, your state representative, your state senators. You start to learn what the governor is doing. What are these other departments that are within your state and how do they operate? Secretary of State, what is he doing? How does he, handle business and all this other kind of stuff? You start to understand that a little bit more, and then you recognize that that's essentially a microcosm for the way that your federal government is operating. And now we can we can start implementing the things that we did locally to the state, to the federal, or the national, however you want to say it. But either way, holding Democrats accountable all the way up to the top, regardless of if they're running for dog catcher or president of the United States. We have to hold them all accountable. And the call to action. How do you think we can best hold our leaders accountable? I want y'all to brainstorm and then put those ideas in the comments for me. And this is the last thing. I talked about identity earlier, and I said it's not about identity politics. It is about claiming your narrative and creating your own narrative. So, what do we need to do? We need to redefine the left. So, look, I'm not going to say the left isn't radical. What I'm going to say is radical has been turned into an insult. But what the left is pragmatic and is rooted in values that serve the majority. So it is time to dismantle these Republican caricatures and reframe our narrative. So this execution is going to look like we highlight relatable, effective leaders who embody progressive ideals. So we just held everybody accountable on the last one, right? So now we're finding the people that we can lean on these effective leaders that embody the ideals that we want, and we continue to uplift them and amplify their voice, right? We try to get them pushed into committee so that they have more power within Congress or within the Senate, right? That's what we have got to do. So if there's people that are already in there that are doing the good work, or there's some newcomers, some freshmen that you've been paying attention to. Those are the kind of people that right now we need to start highlighting so that more and more people nationally know them. So whenever they run, they already have a national platform and a national profile to go along with the progressive ideals that they are pushing. So they look like not only common sense, but they look like pragmatic, they look like logical, and they look like they can get some stuff done, right? So that means we need to run media campaigns that normalize progressive policies as common sense. These are common sense, right? Tuition free public college. There's nothing that says we should not be doing that. A universal healthcare system, ending the war on drugs and changing it from a criminalized issue to a rehabilitation issue, right? No longer crime, now it is health, right? There are all kinds of progressive things that we have been pushing for that we know would make things run more effectively. But they're being framed as these crazy pipe dream leftist, radical, socialist, communist, Marxist, insert whatever word they want to use to describe it. And that's why they're able to get it dismissed. So we have to run these media campaigns that normalize them as common sense. And then we got to use humor because we are funny. We got to use storytelling because we are creative. And we have to use data because we have the facts to debunk stereotypes and amplify how practical ideas like universal healthcare really are. We have all of this on the left, and it is time that we reclaim it, reclaim culture, reclaim art, and reclaim politics as the way that we do things. No longer allow them to tell us who we are. We know who we are, and we need to show who we are. And this is how we do it. And my call to action is, what is one way you think that the left can redefine itself to resonate with more people? And I want you to drop your thoughts below, and I want y'all to join this conversation. So look, that's going to wrap up our second quarter of the 4 quarters of community development. From actionable messaging to reclaiming the left's identity, these steps are key to building a stronger, more united movement. If you want more, the third quarter is just around the corner, where we're going to dive into the next 5 transformative points, focusing on amplifying community power and reshaping narratives even further. So I need y'all to subscribe. I need y'all to comment. I need y'all to share, to stay connected as we continue this journey of change together. We can create a blueprint for progress. I appreciate you guys for joining in. I appreciate you guys for taking the time. We are going to do what we are going to do because we came here to do it. And that's on everything. And that's been that controversial conversation. And I'm Jost the Babe. And I'll catch you next time.